So as it says on the screen, a potentially prolific edge player that is Jaelan Phillips, right? All right. So Phillips would have been my edge 1 instead of edge 2 on my big board if not for the concussions and moped injuries that ultimately led to him medically retiring at UCLA. Also, I had no idea about Azeez Ojulari's medical red flags at the Indy Combine check, and had I known that too, would have catapulted Phillips to the top spot on my edge big board. Jaelan Phillips is a stupidly freakish and good athlete for his size, such good explosiveness and quickness in his first step and in condensed areas. He moves laterally with ease and has good size and length to his overall frame. Plays at a strong pad level, great understanding of the leverage game, and is constantly pushing back the pocket or fully penetrating it. Gets through contact with ease with great pop in his hands when he initiates. Can put his hand in the dirt or stand up while setting the edge well. Phillips is so good at reading recognition, diagnosing run plays so well, while possessing great closing speed, allowing him to be a monster against the run at times. When he has to rush inside, he just manhandles guards as he's just too speedy and powerful for them to handle, using his ability to convert speed to power to its fullest potential. He's a sack and tackle for loss machine, as he led the ACC last year in both of those categories. Has a great repertoire of moves, a very effective bull rush, swim move, and again, like a few others in this class I've mentioned, always has a backup plan or counter to his initial move not getting the job done. Just a really smart player with a high level of awareness. Has a really good motor, and with the speed to match, he's always sniffing out the ball and always around it seems. The prospect of lining up Phillips at edge and Emmanuel Ogbah as the interior end on this defense next to him must have Flores, Boyer, and company absolutely salivating at the thought and licking their chops. It really becomes a pick your poison for the offensive line, but either way, in the end, you'll be drinking poison. The pressure rate these two will cause, lined up side by side, may be quite large. Who do you combo block? If you bring in a tight end to help the tackle on Phillips, that leaves Ogbah in a one-on-one situation with the guard, which isn't ideal for any offense. If you pull the center to help the guard to take on Ogbah, Phillips is one-on-one with the tackle and will have too much bend around the arc, speed to come across the tackle's face, and a good counter move repertoire for most tackles to handle if they can take on the initial move from Phillips. It's really not far-fetched to think either Ogbah or Phillips could be in double-digit sacks while the other is close to it or reaches double-digit sacks himself, allowing both to hit double-digit sacks at the same time. They'll also rack up a good amount of tackles for losses and run stops. I think the combination of them together side by side may be one of the funnest to watch this season if they do in fact line up side by side. Phillips' ability will also impact pass coverage. By the Miami Dolphins finally adding a legit every down threat to use off of the edge, this can only improve the season outlook for Byron Jones and Xavier Howard, along with the other corners on defense. I know I spoke about Phillips and Ogbah's impact side by side, but add in Raekwon Davis, Christian Wilkins, and Andrew Van Ginkel, and the front is not only formidable, but it seems complete to me. Time will be of the essence for quarterbacks, as unless offensive lines are running 12-man personnel constantly with those two tight end additions helping in the blocking, mismatches will be found all over the place, I think. Meaning there will be no holding on to the ball for 3+ seconds and having all the time in the world to wait for a receiver to separate to make a play. This is going to force quarterbacks to make their reads quicker and get rid of the ball, even at times when the coverage is tight or the window is far more narrow than the quarterback prefers. And with Byron showing some playmaking ability last year by recording the most INTs in the season he's ever had, and Xavier Howard being the best baiter since Deion Sanders, this could very well help Byron replicate his turnovers last year and dare I say help X get to or near double-digit takeaways again. The Jaelan Phillips selection truly does have a ripple effect on this defense that will be felt all the way back into the secondary. As like I said, this defensive front finally feels like it's complete with his addition. Another factor that can't be overlooked in selecting Jaelan Phillips is his ability to make mobile, athletic quarterbacks think twice about moving outside of the pocket or relying on their legs too much. In a season where the Dolphins will play Josh Allen twice, Lamar Jackson, Zach Wilson twice, whose biggest strength is to make plays outside the pocket, and Trevor Lawrence, who can do the same, Jaelan Phillips is an invaluable asset. I mean, no one knows this better than Trevor Lawrence himself, as Jaelan Phillips gave him absolute fits when Clemson played this past season. If you saw that game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Andrew Van Ginkel is athletic enough to hold down his side, but the pursuit speed, change of direction ability, play diagnosing ability, and understanding of pursuit angles that Jaelan Phillips has are elite and will allow him to make plays. Against the Bills alone, this may change the dynamic as Josh Allen has continuously killed us with his athleticism, but now having an impact player like Jaelan Phillips on the prowl and in the mix can help us limit Josh Allen's ability there, keep him in the pocket much more. The Dolphins in recent years have been killed by quarterbacks with strong improvisational skills, and hopefully the addition of Jaelan Phillips can nullify that. Phillips' own defensive lineman coach at the University of Miami, Todd Strode, said that in his 36 years of coaching, he had never seen someone put better effort on tape than what he saw from Jaelan Phillips this year. And this is huge considering this is the same coach that grew Mario Williams and 8 other first-round players besides the 2 during his career. What's even crazier is he did that in a COVID season with no proper off-season training program from the University of Miami and no spring football. He put up 8 sacks, 21 solo tackles, 24 tackle assists for a total of 45 tackles, with 15 and a half of those tackles for a loss and 1 interception. Just imagine if he would have had a normal offseason heading into last season. Who knows what he would have done, but double-digit sacks isn't unfathomable. And if that happened, even with this passive injuries, more than likely, no way he slips out of the top 10 or all the way down to 18 for the Miami Dolphins to select. The versatility can't be overlooked either. The Dolphins clearly intend to stand him up off the edge, but Jaelan Phillips would have no problem putting his hand in the dirt as he did it often at the University of Miami. And his game speed and power combination would be a lot for an interior offensive lineman to handle or try to square up on. Phillips gives positional flexibility that Flores and his defensive staff and coaching staffs covet. And like you hear me talk about Van Ginkel being a playmaker, Phillips is a cut from the same cloth. Even being decent in coverage and using his high-level awareness and great body length to bat down balls and fill passing lanes. He really is so polished and a damn near complete edge that it's scary to think that he can develop even further at the next level as long as he stays healthy. The question a lot of Dolphin fans have is, who can you compare Jaelan Phillips to? Well, I think when it's all said and done, Jaelan Phillips will be Jaelan Phillips, but there's some comparisons that can be made when you look at his athletic profile or his production. First, let's start with his athletic profile by comparing him to Nick and Joey Bosa. Phillips is a quarter of an inch taller than Joey, but half an inch shorter than Nick. Jaelan had a much faster 40 than both as he ran a 4.58 while Joey ran a 4.77 and Nick ran a 4.79. Phillips has a 4.13 short shuttle, while Joey Bosa posted a 4.21 short shuttle, and Nick had a 4.14. So Jaelan is quicker there. Phillips' 3-cone is better than Nick's, but not Joey's. His vertical is 4 inches higher than Joey's and 2.5 inches higher than Nick's. His broad jump is 4 inches farther than Joey's and 9 inches longer than Nick's. He also averaged more tackles for a loss per game than both, and averaged more sacks per game than Nick Bosa, while Joey only averaged 0.1 sacks per game more than Jaelan Phillips. That's some elite company Jaelan Phillips keeps. Diving even further into the numbers, when you look at every edge player since 2000 that averaged 1.5 tackles for loss per game and ran a 4.65 40 time or better, Jaelan Phillips finds himself in the presence of names like Bradley Chubb, Jadeveon Clowney, Josh Allen, Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, Myles Garrett, and Khalil Mack. What's even crazier and should give fans more optimism with this pick is when you take Jaelan Phillips' size, athleticism shown by his 40 times short shuttle 3-cone, vertical jump, broad jump, and you add in his collegiate production at the University of Miami, the comparisons come out to be a lot of names already mentioned, plus some. Vic Beasley, Anthony Barr, Von Miller, Khalil Mack, Max Crosby, Derek Barnett, DeMarcus Ware, Chase Winovich, Jerry Hughes, Justin Houston, and of course, Joey Bosa. So those are some big, big names he finds himself in company with. All that said, obviously his health is a red flag, and the only reason he dropped out of the top 10. The concussions are no joke, and something that clearly made teams feel uncomfortable with, that were led them to not investing highly in him in this past draft, i.e. a top 10 draft pick. I'm not worried about it, though. He made it through this past season with 0 issues, and the coaching staff at the University of Miami doesn't think it'll be issues doesn't think it'll be an issue at the next level, as highlighted by Todd Stroud. Either way you slice it, Jaelan Phillips looks to not only be productive at the next level, but potentially very, very special. And it's clearly obvious why Brian Flores and his coaching staff were so excited to land the stud of a player. We may not have only found our edge rusher of now and the future, but we may have landed a guy who's going to be prolific at this position. All in all, the talent and potential to be a game changer that Jaelan Phillips has was far too good to pass up at 18, and we may look back on this draft and view him as the biggest steal of it. There's no doubt in my mind that he will be just that as long as he stays healthy.